Actors find few things scarier than having to film a nude scene, and it's not much easier for their family either. After showing a fair bit of skin in the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke finally put her foot down. As she gained more confidence, Clarke fought against unnecessary nude scenes on the show, and successfully managed to go for a number of seasons without taking off her clothes. She ultimately broke that streak, however, in season 6. In the episode Book of the Stranger, Daenerys burns down an entire temple and emerges from the flames naked but unscathed. Clarke told Live with Kelly that her parents had been supportive of her work but weren't really keeping up with the latest seasons because they felt their daughter had a more diminished role in the show.
My parents were like, so we're watching the show and da-da-da, but you know, darling, you're not doing much in this season.
Wanting to show her parents that the Mother of Dragons hadn't lost her spark, Clarke begged them to watch one episode in which her character leaves a particularly strong impression. She had forgotten, of course, that this also happened to be the episode where Dany burned away all her clothes. Clarke remembered this only as she sat down with her family to watch it.
My dad's like, again?
Yes.
Again?
Yes, again. To be fair, this moment was a much more tasteful use of nudity than previous scenes, and one that Clarke felt far more comfortable with. In the one notorious scene from Black Swan, Mila Kunis' character Lily persuades Natalie Portman's Nina to have a drink the night before her big ballet rehearsal. The next thing Nina knows, she's in bed with Lily. And before long, Nina's mom discovers what her daughter has been doing. One Black Swan actor was faced with a situation almost as awkward as that which Nina experienced. Mila Kunis needed to figure out how to tell her father that her newest movie role involved a graphic sex scene. She later told MTV, "I don't think any dad should see, it's just not necessary." Once her father heard about that scene, he became reluctant to watch Black Swan at all. Eventually, the two came to an agreement. Her father would watch most of the movie, but when the sex scene was about to come on, Mila would nonchalantly give her dad a cue, and he would step outside the room. In an interview with Parade, Kunis said, "I just don't think he wants to envision his daughter doing that kind of thing." She added that if Black Swan made her father uncomfortable, he probably wouldn't want to watch his daughter in Friends with Benefits either, since this raunchy sex comedy has plenty more where that came from. Before becoming the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle was known for her role as Rachel in Suits.
It was like both of us in the trailer, just kind of like, I was just like, oh my, you're dating a prince?
In one memorable scene, Rachel and Mike have sex in an unexpected location. Balanced against a shelf of filing cabinets, Rachel makes love to Mike with great enthusiasm. It would be hard for anyone to forget this scene, but it was hardest of all for Markle's husband. Although Prince Harry knew Markle was an actor when they hooked up, he didn't become familiar with that particular scene until after they had already begun dating. In his memoir Spare, Harry wrote, "I'd made the mistake of Googling and watching some of her love scenes online. I'd witnessed her and a castmate mauling each other in some sort of office or conference room. It would take electric shock therapy to get those images out of my head." Meanwhile, Meghan's extended family took the news in stride. According to Harry, Prince William and Princess Catherine knew of Markle from Suits before he introduced her as his girlfriend. They were surprised, certainly, that Harry was dating an American actor, but they presumably didn't find it the least bit embarrassing that she had done sex scenes before. In fact, they were huge fans of Markle. Harry wrote, "All this time I'd thought Willie and Kate might not welcome Meg into the family, but now I had to worry about them hounding her for an autograph." After the notorious sequence from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, in which Harry and Hermione are shown in the nude, you would think that Rupert Grint would be feeling left out. How come good old Ron didn't have an opportunity to strip down? Actually, at this point in his career, Grint had already shot a nude scene for a different movie. The ex-Harry Potter star has also appeared in movies that are considerably more adult, such as 2009's Cherry Bomb. In that film, Grint is shown in bed with a girl, and this was Grint's first ever nude scene. Discussing watching the film with his parents, Grint told The Mirror, "It was agonizing. The scene's quite tastefully done, but it's not the sort of moment you really want to share with your mom and dad." Unfortunately, you can't always get what you want in life, which is why Grint ended up sitting in the same room as his parents while they saw their son's first nude scene. His parents received an advanced DVD copy of the film and began watching it with him, not knowing what they were in for, he recalled. "When the scene arrived, we all sat there not really saying anything. Afterwards, nobody talked about it, which was kind of a relief."
Yeah, it's nice to see your own reflection while you're making schmexy faces. It's absolutely absurd, actually.
After suffering through a cringe-worthy sex scene in Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1, Kristen Stewart filmed another steamy scene for On the Road, in which her character rides topless in the front seat of a car. Stewart first signed on to the movie at age 16, but she didn't start filming it until she was 21. Speaking to Awards Daily, she later implied that her parents had been relieved she wouldn't be doing her first nude scene until she was older. Stewart said, "I think everyone was really happy that it took a few years for the movie to get made." Stewart also said that her mom was glad her daughter had participated in the project. In fact, she said Welcome to the Rileys might have been a tougher movie for her parents to watch. Although Stewart didn't need to take off her clothes for her role as a teenage stripper in that movie, it was still an emotionally intense part, Stewart remembered. "It just rocked me, and I think my parents could probably feel that as well." For her part, Stewart has no regrets. Speaking of her past nude scenes, Stewart told Maclean's, "As long as you're being honest, there's nothing to be ashamed of." For The Lucky One, Zac Efron stripped down to film a sex scene with Taylor Schilling. Later, his mom attended the film's premiere, which Efron admits made him uncomfortable. He told People magazine, "Even though she was a couple of seats down from me, I tried to duck out during those scenes because it was too embarrassing. Obviously, I'm acting, but knowing that my mom and my family were watching is kind of awkward." Of course, Efron also assured fans that his mom still loved his performance. But it doesn't end there. The actor's mother apparently chastised him after she visited while he was filming a nude scene for Neighbors 2 Sorority Rising. His mother glimpsed him holding his prosthetic testicles and later sent him a photo of this along with a message, "Please, what are you doing?" Zac Efron tried to explain to his mother that in certain contexts, it is socially acceptable to display your prosthetic testicles, insisting that it was for the film. His mother wasn't convinced, however, replying, "Have some class." Efron has shared that if he's ever going to show any more of his body, it wouldn't be for just any film. He told Elle, "It better be for an Academy Award-winning movie. How's that for class?" Suppose you are directing an erotic thriller and are shooting a scene in which a woman has sex with her late daughter's friend. Who would you cast to play the former? For director Damien Hurley, the choice was obvious. He would give the part to his mother, actor Elizabeth Hurley. Originally, this role from the movie Strictly Confidential was written for a man, but Damien decided to shake things up as he thought it would be more interesting if the dead girl's mother was the one having the affair. The director later explained to Vogue, "The second I had that part, it made total sense to beg my mighty mother to come on board." His mother was happy to participate and felt completely at ease with her son behind the camera. So was it strange for Damien Hurley to not only watch his mother grind up against a woman, but also guide her through the entire scene? Damien told the Sunday Times, "I hate to say that it felt totally normal. I don't know what that says about us." If nothing else, though, time seems to have contributed to Damien's attitude about this.
We were so frantic racing around trying to get every scene that we didn't even have time to think about it too much.
The only thing more awkward than watching a sex scene with your romantic partner is actually being behind the camera while they pretend to make love with someone else. Luckily for Kate Winslet, Sam Mendes handled it like a champ. In Revolutionary Road, Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio play a couple whose marriage is falling apart. For this film, Winslet participated in multiple sex scenes, and for each of them, Winslet's husband was always close by, seeing as he was the director. Speaking to Entertainment Weekly, Winslet said that DiCaprio told her it was no big deal, to which she replied, "You're my best friend. He's my husband. This is a bit weird." Meanwhile, Mendes took it in stride, adding, "I will admit it was quite bizarre to direct my wife in How to Make Love, but it's difficult whether you're married to a person or not." Mendes shared that he found it easier to direct the scene when he wasn't in the same room, instead watching the pair on monitors. Perhaps one of the most controversial movies of all time, 1978's Pretty Baby, starred an 11-year-old Brooke Shields as a child sex worker. But Brooke Shields didn't film a nude scene only for her parents to find out later. Instead, Brooke's mother, Terry Shields, was also her manager, so she knew about it from the get-go. Terry Shields tried to shelter her daughter from most of the film's public backlash, yet when she believed she couldn't shield her daughter any longer, she assured Brooke that it didn't matter what anybody else thought of her. In an interview with Vanity Fair, Brooke recalled her mother telling her, "Are you proud of what you did? Well then, them." Most parents need to have the talk with their children once they hit puberty, but Brooke Shields also needed to have another conversation with her children, discussing the controversial film that their mother had starred in as a kid. Her daughters had very different reactions. Brooke told NPR, "On the one hand, my older daughter said, 'This needs to be seen. This is going to help women, people.' And my other daughter was just very disturbed, never wants to see it again." Euphoria contains a startling amount of sex and nudity even for an HBO series, and the scenes with Sydney Sweeney are no exception. Sweeney portrays Cassie on the show, a popular yet deeply insecure girl. When Sweeney's family saw her nude scenes in Euphoria, each member of her family had a very different reaction. Her mom was already on board with Sweeney portraying Cassie, having discussed the role at length with her daughter and visited her on set. Her father, on the other hand, wasn't quite as ready.
Yeah, I didn't prepare my dad at all. So he decided he was going to watch it without telling me with his parents.
According to Sweeney, her father neglected to tell her that he was starting to watch the show, so she didn't get a chance to warn him, and even worse, Sweeney's father invited her grandparents to watch it with him. Still, Sweeney had at least one person on side.
My dad and my grandpa turned it off and walked out, but my grandma's she's a big supporter of mine.